Both are what I consider to be my people, which is what worries me so much about what is going on. One is New York Times reading, National Public Radio listening people who've innocently fallen under the impression that pious, unempirical virtue signaling about race is a form of moral enlightenment and political activism, and ever teeter upon becoming card-carrying unintentional racists themselves. In this book, I will often refer to these people as white, but they can be of any color, including mine. I am of this world. I read The New Yorker. I have 2 children. I saw Sideways. I loved both The Wire and Parks and Recreation. The other is black people who've innocently fallen under the misimpression that for us only, cries of weakness constitute a kind of strength, and that for us only, what makes us interesting, what makes us matter, is a curated persona as eternally victimized souls ever carrying and defined by the memories and injuries of our people across the 4 centuries behind us, ever unrecognized, ever misunderstood, ever, in assorted senses, unpaid. 3. This is not merely a book of complaint. My goal is not to venture a misty statement that today's hyper-wokesters need to understand that a diversity of opinions is crucial to a healthy society. Citing John Stuart Mill at them serves no purpose. Our current conversations waste massive amounts of energy by missing the futility of dialogue with them. Of 100 fundamentalist Christians, how many do you suppose could be convinced via argument to become atheists? There is no reason that the number of people who can be talked out of this religion should be any higher. As such, our concern must be how to continue with genuine progress in spite of this ideology. How do we work around it? How do we insulate people with good ideas from the influence of liturgical concerns? How do we hold them off from influencing the education of our young people any more than they already have? How do we conduct socially gracious existences amid the necessity of engaging with their religious doctrine, presented with Cotton Mather's earnestness and impregnable insistence, when almost none of them will actually understand that they're making religious rather than secular arguments? That is, my interest is not, how do we get through to these people? We can't, at least not enough of them to matter. The question is, how can we live graciously among them? We seek genuine change in the real world, but for the duration, we'll have to do so while ever encountering bearers of a gospel, itching to smoke out heretics and ready on a moment's notice to tar us as moral perverts. I write this viscerally driven by the fact that the ideology in question is one under which white people calling themselves our saviors make black people look like the dumbest, weakest, most self-indulgent human beings in the history of our species, and teach black people to revel in that status and cherish it as making us special. I'm especially dismayed at the idea of this indoctrination infecting my daughter's sense of self. I can't always be with them, and this anti-humanist ideology may seep into their school curriculum. I shudder at the thought. Teachers with eyes shining at the prospect of showing their anti-racism by filling my daughter's heads with performance art, instructing them that they are poster children rather than individuals. Ta-Nehisi Coates, in Between the World and Me, wanted to teach his son that America is set against him. I want to teach my kids the reality of their lives in the 21st rather than the early to mid-20th century. Lord forbid my daughters internalize a pathetic, yes, absolutely pathetic in all of the resonances of that word, sense that what makes them interesting is what other people think of them, or don't. Many will nevertheless see me as traitorous in writing this book as a black person. They won't understand that I see myself as serving my race by writing it. One of the grimmest tragedies of how this perversion of sociopolitics makes us think, or not think, is that it will bar more than a few black readers from understanding that this book is calling for them to be treated with true dignity. However, they and everyone else should also know, I know quite well that white readers will be more likely to hear out views like this when they're written by a black person, and I consider it nothing less than my duty as a black person to write this book. A version of this book written by a white writer would be blithely dismissed as racist. I will be dismissed instead.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.